What we do here is go back.
Cracks, also known as Crack Master, was a Sesame Street short that aired on December 31st, 1975. In 2008, a man named John Armand posted this description about the short. A girl is sitting on her bed and starts to look closely at the cracks on her wall. She makes out shapes. One is a camel and comes to life. She climbs aboard the camel and goes for a ride. She then sees a monkey who is very happy to see her. But then the music changes and the crack monster is revealed. It yells out and it crumbles into nothing. The girl then snaps out of her imagination and gleefully sings, "Camel, thank you for the ride. I'll come and see you again sometime." This post would spark what became a massive search for what was to many an extremely infamous and fascinating piece of lost media. What made this search and its popularity a thing was many more people chiming in with near identical descriptions of the short, meaning that it was indeed likely real. The Children's Television Workshop were able to confirm the episode's air date and exactly when it came up during its episode of Sesame Street. However, despite contacts from people such as avid lost media searcher Dykite, someone from the PR department of the Sesame Workshop said in an email response, "Sorry, we will not be able to release the segment at all." Before this, however, the original person who posted about the search received a fax stating, "We have the copy." And then, on a Sunday, a DVD was hand-delivered to his letterbox containing the missing short. John Armand was, however, told to never publicly share the clip, which is what he relayed to people online. However, he bizarrely did claim at one point to Dykite that it cannot be released until he completes a documentary about the search for cracks, but that contradicted his original claim that he was told to never publicly share cracks. Eventually, Dykite received an email with no sender attached. The email contained a video file. The file was cracks. With no warnings to never release it, he posted it online, rendering the clip found.
While laying in her bed, the cracks overhead more and more looked like a camel. So they happily skipped into where they'd never been and in corner found a giant crack. "Who are you?" they said. The crack just growled instead and made himself look very big and mean. He said, "I am Crack Master." But just then the wall plaster began to crumble to the floor, and where the monster stood were only beams of wood. He destroyed himself trying to be mean. "Camel, thank you for the ride. The rain has stopped outside. We'll go and see the cracks again someday."
It was later revealed that Cracks was digitized from its archives and was sitting in Sesame Street's online databases. As it turned out, any employee at Sesame Workshop had access to these video databases, meaning it was likely a random employee from the company who leaked the short to John Armand, trying to seem extremely cool and mysterious with his facts, as well as hand-delivering the DVD which contained the short. So, in an extremely bizarre yet amazing turn of events, Cracks was found, and it is still to this day one of the internet's greatest lost media discoveries. Oh Paradive Sally, or Clockman, as it was coined by the internet, was a paper cutout animated short released in communist Czechoslovakia in 1976. It was also once one of the biggest lost media mysteries throughout such communities on the internet. What made this short so sought after for so many people in lost media circles was its fascinating original description by a user Commander Santa from 2012, posted in a thread on the forum The Flood. He described a character he coined the Clockman, abducting a little boy and taking him to places he did not want to go. Despite the boy's wishes to go home, the Clockman just ignored him and continued to take him to many scary places. He believed the short to have aired on the Nickelodeon show Pinwheel. Eventually, a user on 4chan chimed in and claimed he also remembered the short. However, his description was somewhat different to Commander Santa's. A notable detail he was able to add was that he claimed the animation featured poorly made dolls and was stuttery. Another notable detail he added was that he claimed the Clockman's head peeked through the clock on the wall as though it were a window. He pushes the clock open like a door. Many people in the lost media community started to believe both of these two posts weren't describing a real short and that they must have confused it with something else. But then, a post from the website The Animation Nation dated way back to 2004 was also discovered, and in that post there was a description that eerily resembled those from the previous two posts. In his description, he says it was about a girl who lost her red shoes and asked the local wizard for help. He helps her, but told her she had to tell her mum. She goes home and doesn't, hoping the wizard would forget. However, the music then changes, and the narrator says, but the wizard did not forget. He then suddenly pops out of her clock and steals her away. After the previous doubters in the lost media community read this post, they began to change their tune and started to realize that it was in fact a real short. Despite this post sparking belief in the search, for many years nobody could find the short. Countless efforts from many people in the lost media community brought up nothing. Then one day, 5 years since the search began, a lost media wiki user, Nitrate Nerd, was doing his own Clockman research in the Worldwide Library Catalog website, WorldCat. After looking through several pages, he found a listing for a short titled Sally, which featured a YouTube link. He viewed the short, and lo and behold, everything that occurred in it closely somewhat matched the descriptions of the 3 people who recalled the short in those now very old separate posts. Clockman was found on YouTube, except it wasn't in English. But then, 1 month later, an educational film preservation archive known as AV Geeks supplied an English dub from their archives. Once this was released, the search was finally over, and Clockman ended up being arguably the internet's most satisfying lost media discovery.